On today's episode of LTV, I'm going to be covering this question. Do you actually want to run a software business? So here's where I'm coming from. If you're a founder or an entrepreneur who's working on a software product or an app, and you've weighed the pros and cons and you've done your customer research and you're ready to spend the next 10 years of your life building this thing, then this episode isn't for you. The person I'm talking to are the people who want to build an app as sort of like a lifestyle business. So maybe they're an Instagram fitness expert and they run a coaching business, but they want to build an app, right? And they think that once they build this thing, it's going to just bring in recurring residual income. It's going to line their bank accounts, and that's it. It's going to, they kind of just build it, put it out there. It brings them money, and they don't have to think about it. This is a bit of a reality check, maybe a bit of a rant. So if you know somebody like this, please share this with them. So here's what I really want to cover on this is, if this is your perception of what it's like to build an app, and I've come across these people before, nothing wrong with them. They're good people. I just think that they're maybe underestimating the amount of time that it's going to take and the expense and the maintenance that it's going to cost to actually run an app. So first thing is, launching is just the beginning. And I felt like this when I started getting into building product, was thought that really the majority of the work was just building it and launching it. And then once you're done that, you just start growing. And what I've come to learn over the years through trial and error is the fact that launching is just step one. And it could take months or even years to reach product market fit, where the product's really serving a need and it's growing quickly and people are finding it through word of mouth. So that can take years. So really, once you've hired somebody, you've hired a developer or bribed or cajoled a friend who can code to build version 1 of your app, what you're going to find is that once you put it out there in the world and start testing it with real users, it's crickets. There's not a lot of people using it. Or the people that do use it, they stop after, a day. And then when you sort of press them for why, they might say, they couldn't figure it out. It was hard to use. There was a lot of bugs. So this is where, the journey just begins. You're going to have to work with developers long-term to just continually iterate on your product to make it even something worth buying in the first place. And then the second thing is, once it actually, if you get lucky, the app takes off and people start liking it and paying for it. Now it's a question of how can you grow it and maintain it. So what you're going to need to find is, you're going to need a whole team of developers to continue working on the product, building new features, fixing bugs. You're going to need to support it through marketing and sales. So you might need to build a sales team or a marketing team, and do stuff like, search engine optimization or running Facebook or Instagram ads. And that's just a whole other component to the business, because otherwise people won't find it. And then, of course, you'll need a supporting staff to support those people, HR, finance, that kind of thing. So really, what I'm talking about is building a company. And I swear I've put this question out there to people who said, oh, I want to build an app. When I said, do you actually want to run a software business? They say no. And because they don't really realize that if it works, you're building a company. And if that's not what you want to do long term, if your goal in life is to not be a software entrepreneur and run a company, then outside of just building the app as a hobby or just something for fun, if you're actually trying to think of it as a long-term money-making venture, then just get prepared for the fact that you're going to have to build a company. You may even need to raise money. The biggest products, the biggest apps that we use in the world, the Netflixes and the Spotifys, they've all raised hundreds of millions of dollars in venture capital to get to the place that they're at. So it's a huge journey to be able to build a product or an app. It's going to take years of your life, might take years off your life too. So I hope the episode has maybe just brought a little reality check there to make sure that you understand what you're getting into. Again, it's not to discourage anybody from, testing the waters and dipping their toes into, trying to figure out how to build an app, but more so just coming at it from a place of reality that if it's not your goal long-term to run a software business, then maybe it's something you want to maybe spend your energy better somewhere else. So I hope that episode's helpful. If you know somebody who's in this spot, please pass that on and share it. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Let me know, and thanks. Bye for now.
This episode of Lifetime Value is brought to you by Proposify. Proposify improves sales productivity so your team spends less time creating proposals and more time selling. Start your free trial at proposify.com. And be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a single episode.